Clear the runway, then a left turn and a lowest downwind. Cessna over the threshold, coming up on the white dot, at or beyond the white dot, left turn first available. I got a high wind coming up on about a half-mile final, clear to land at or beyond. Traffic on the left face, you're following a Cessna down low off your left. Square it up just a little bit, and then we're going to get you in. Start your descent, though. Start your descent on the base. Traffic on final, give me follow on base. Base traffic, start turning toward the numbers now. High wing coming up on quarter-mile final, take it all the way down to the green. Cessna taxiing on the green, expedite down to the next hard surface. Get me some speed, there you go, 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 go fast. This is going to be good. I got traffic on a mile final, you're following traffic ahead and to your right. High wing coming up on the threshold, take it all the way down to the green dot.
5 Charlie Sierra, 2 mile final.
A mile final, turn north, and we're going to just make you, we're going to bring you back around. Jet traffic's coming up on about a mile and a half final, runway 9er clear to land.
Okay, all right, let's listen up, guys. If you're on final for runway 9, I want you to offset to the left. I got a jet that's landing on runway 9. The jet's cleared to land runway 9 if you can make it. If not, just continue straight ahead. It looks like you're going around for the jet. That's fine, that's fine, that's fine.
Oh, we had one right in front of us, sir.
Dragger. Let's see, what we got, a tricycle. Tricycle, put it down. Tricycle, put it down. Tricycle, put it down. Tail dragger, down to the green dot, then a left turn. Short final here, you clear to land on 9, all the way to the white dot, go down to the white dot. Find somebody to follow out here. Canard, just come to the runway, and I might have to just send you around. That'll be fine. And for the jet, you just want to stay in this pattern, or you want to go back out for an instrument approach?
Stay in a pattern, Charlie Sierra.
All right, just stay with me here for a minute. And my tail dragger, and let's see, over the numbers, go down to the green. And Canard's going to have to go around. Canard, go around. Canard, go around. Canard, go around. And my high wing here over the runway, keep it airborne. Keep it airborne. You do not descend. Do not descend. You got a fast guy behind you. Do not descend. There you go. Keep it airborne. Keep it airborne. As soon as the guy behind you gets slowed down, I'm going to put you down. So keep it airborne. The one that just passed the white dot, make a left turn on the hard surface. All right, my high wing tail dragger, you can put it down now. You can put it down now. And Charlie Sierra, let me get you about a mile off. Let's see, Charlie Sierra, I lost. There you are. Make a left-hand turn. I'll try to resequence you here on the downwinds. We'll see how it looks. Short final, you're clear to land runway 9 on the white dot. Clear to land on the white dot. There you go. And the tricycle left on the hard surface and follow the flagman. Welcome. Thanks for being part of the show. And let's see, just find somebody to follow out follow on the final, and as you get close to the runway, if it's not going to work, we're going to send you around and then try to resequence you. Now, who else got sent around that's not back on the downwind? The Canard?
Yeah, Canard.
All right, Canard, there's a Gulfstream up there that went around too. I just lost sight of him, but you're going to make kind of a left-hand turn and stay low. I think Charlie Sierra, what's your altitude?
3,200.
Okay, that'll be fine. Just maintain VFR. I don't know what else is up there above you. Probably most everybody's down here, so just make a left-hand turn. We'll try to get you back here.
Canard's got the jet in sight.
Okay, the RV, maybe an RV-10, whatever, you're on final. Keep your speed up and go all the way down to the, aim for the green dot for me. Actually, keep your speed up. There's a guy behind you. Aim for the green dot, and I'm sure that's plenty of room for you to land on runway 9. You're clear to land on runway 9. Number 2, you're going to go down to the white dot. Follow the white dot. Actually, you know what? That's 1,500 feet. You're going to land at the white dot. The spacing looks adequate here. 2 guys on final. You're kind of tight there. Keep each other in sight, and you're going to aim for the white dot. If it's not going to work, we'll come up with a plan B. We might have to send you around. The second guy behind you out there in about a 2-mile final. Are you slow enough to be able to follow that guy in front of you? You need to go around. Well, I probably shouldn't ask that because I had about 5 guys answer me, so I should know better than that after 35 years, you would think, right? All right, so let me see. The guy who's number 1, it's number 1. What kind of airplane is he? An RV type. All right, RV type. Keep it airborne for me. Keep it airborne. And I got a fast guy behind you. The number 2 guy over the trees there. Go ahead and put it down on the numbers. Put it down on the numbers. My first guy just coming up on the numbers at the over the grass at the numbers. I want you to keep it.
T-minus 1 minute and counting.
Hello. Three, two, one. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Flyer Livestream on this Thursday, 7:30. And welcome to, by the end of the show, one of us could be the new Prime Minister. Who knows? Who's got 100 votes? What about, look at that, straight in there. Can I just say, I don't want that job. Unless I could start at sort of 5 o'clock on a Friday, pop over to Chequers for the weekend, issue a few ministerial orders to sort out German aviation, come back, and then I'd happily be. I wouldn't have to have long meetings and figure out why I was fired. I'd just go, it's all right, I've done what I need. Cheers, bye. Or if I could stay 2 months, I could. What, do you have to stay 2 months before you get that 117 grand a month a year for life or something?
I don't know.
Something like that, isn't it?
Yeah.
I
guess Liz gets all the benefits, doesn't it? She's like been in it a really short time, but
I think she's in there too short before she gets the XPM salary for life thing. There you go. Anyway, I'm sure there's going to be lots of stuff to come. And I was just watching the news before I came out, and there was someone saying that Grant Shapps might throw his hat in the ring. But you never know. I can't imagine.
I think all aircraft should be trousered undercarriages.
All aircraft trousered undercarriage. Yeah, absolutely. Right, we better move on. And first of all, we need to thank Sky Demon for sponsoring the live stream. Thank you very much, Sky Demon. Genuinely, it just so happens that yesterday was Tim Dawson's birthday. So there you go. Happy birthday, Tim, for yesterday. So well done. Right, where are we? Let's give you this week's Sky Demon tip. There's a much requested tip, brushed up for the future.
Hi, I'm Hannah from Sky Demon, and this is today's top tip.
If you make a mistake when planning a route and you need to remove a waypoint that you accidentally made, you can tap undo. Or hold your finger on the waypoint and choose remove. Or just drag the waypoint over an existing waypoint.
For more information on using Sky Demon, take a look at our user guide, which you can access from our website.
Simple, good one.
Wasn't there a country and western show song called like 3 Ways to Leave a Lover or something?
There was. It might have been more than 3 though. It might have been 50.
That was a Simon and Garfunkel song, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Was it?
50 ways. 50 ways, yeah.
50 ways.
Something like that.
Will be on me.
3 ways to delete your waypoints.
That's it. Yes.
And that's 50 ways, probably written before they had text and stuff as well.
Yes. Oh, here we go. Martin Ann says, Tim Dawson for PM. He has great ideas and he makes them happen like overnight. Just imagine that.
Yeah.
You could have a flyer forum as a channel for stuff, and we could just, people could make suggestions to PM Tim. That would be brilliant.
Maybe what we need to do is we need to find ourselves an airfield. I don't know, Farway Common or something, for example. I see James in the green room looking worried, and we could declare it a kind of like principality for all flyer members, and then not have to worry about.
I like that. Yeah. Nick Allen says 50 ways, 87 with inflation.
I don't know much about music, and I thought there was a song about 3 ways, something or other, but clearly that's
Paul Fraser Benison is clearly singing it in his head.
Yes.
And for the Christmas live stream, we will be having karaoke.
Comment
by Paul Fraser Benison. Excellent. Right. What have we got next coming up? Well, I think it's going to be weather time. Unfortunately, we don't have Simon here this week. We have a video from Simon, which is probably just as well. Because Simon, if you're listening, I would have been saying to you, your forecast straight guesses recently, they've kind of been a little bit on the pessimistic side. I've kind of looked at them and thought, oh, that looks a bit nasty. I'll plan to dig a trench or something, make commitments to go dig in trenches, and then you stand there, they go, oh, look at this weather, I can be flying now. Yeah, so Simon, let's see what he's got to say for this weekend. I haven't got time to dig any trenches this weekend, so I should be all right.
Hi everyone, hope that you're well this evening. Sorry I can't be with you live. I'm getting ready for Aviation Weather School, which takes place on Saturday. If you're coming along, looking forward to seeing you there. As far as the weekend weather is concerned, well, it's all a bit unsettled. Today's satellite picture picks out the unsettled weather quite nicely. You can see how we've seen cloud moving its way northwards during the course of today. And I just want to show this lumpy cloud that's within the satellite picture. It's a technical term, lumpy cloud. You can see those lumps just in there. They're embedded cumulonimbs within the front itself, and it's those which gave the heavy bursts of rain for some places today. Really did go into quite a pleasant afternoon across more southern areas. So this is how things shape up then for Friday. Low pressure is across Ireland on Friday. We're finding fronts moving their way eastwards during the day, bringing some pretty hefty bursts of rain across Wales and across southwest England, probably in the form of showers. The base is actually not too bad on those showers. Now we've got fronts across Scotland. We've got fronts going down to Ireland. The messy picture continues. Here we're going to be finding outbreaks of rain as well, some embedded cuning with some showers. Base is probably around 2,000 feet, tops at around 15 to 20,000 feet. Looks like northern and eastern parts of England probably fare better. The bases of around 3,000 to 4,000 feet and the tops at around 12,000 feet, but some showers here during the afternoon. I should say windy as well across many parts of southern and western England and Wales. Now on to Saturday, and not a bad day for Saturday. Low pressure is in control, centred across Northern Ireland, but this brings showers across western northern coast of Ireland into the southwest of Scotland. Bases about 3,000 feet, tops about 10 to 12,000 feet. Elsewhere, it actually looks like being, excuse me, a decent sort of day. I think we're looking at base of 3,000 to 4,000 feet, tops at about 10 to 12,000 feet. Decent visibility as well, so not bad at all. On to Sunday, all change. Low pressure is in control. Fronts moving their way northwards during the course of Sunday itself, taking periods of rain with them. You can see the extent of the green and yellow colours on here, just showing us how much rain there's going to be. The cloud ceiling forecast showing the yellow colours by the afternoon across many northern and eastern parts of the Midlands, northern England and through Ireland, with a base of around 1,000 to 1,200 feet. Probably improving from the southwest, you see here, during the afternoon, with those white colours showing us bases of 4,000 foot plus. But you see here some cloud affecting the southern Welsh mountains with some showers moving in during the afternoon. Also looks as if northern and northwestern Scotland sees more cloud because of the proximity of the front. We've got outbreaks of rain here. Northeast Scotland may fare better, but overall Sunday looks to be another unsettled day once again. So Saturday, the day of the weekend, and if you want to learn more about the weather and be able to spot weather windows yourself, build your weather confidence, get yourself along to my first evening Aviation Weather School course on the consecutive Tuesdays of the 1st and the 8th of November between 6:30 and 9:30 p.m. Go to weatherschool.co.uk and you can book your place now. I've got one place left, so if you want that, now is your chance to get there. Okay, I will leave you with that for now. Have a super weekend, whatever you're doing. Thanks again for watching. Keep the sun shining, and I'll see you again next week. Bye, guys.
Thank you very much. I should mention there was a comment in the comments saying, "Am I expecting Wiltshire to be invaded?" I didn't really follow that, but unfortunately, because of the way this software works, I'm kind of in a bit that doesn't see comments, so I can only just dip in stuff when Simon's telling everyone how terrible it's going to be. So apologies for that.
I think it refers to digging trenches, Ian.
Yes.
Oh, I got it. Yeah, that's my gardening term. I know about as much about gardening as I do about singing and films and things like that. Right. No one wants to know my ignorance. Let's move on to Johnny. Johnny, it's got to be club promotion time.
So if you're not a member, you can head to fly.co.uk and join, and you can take advantage of the great free landing vouchers, which this month we've got Bodmin, Felthorpe, Kittyhawk and Rougham. And I can tell you for next month, we've got Edsfield, Land's End, Longside and Brighton City already lined up. So just £52 for the full year. Or if you want the option, you can pay £5 a month. Obviously cheaper to take the £52 option, but you know we're all different, so we can do different things. And there's tons of, you get access to all the content on fly.co.uk and plenty of other good stuff. So join the club, fly.co.uk/membership.
And if you're not a member, I'd just like to say a little personal plea. It really does help us if you join. I know it's in the big scheme of things, you might think that 52 quid won't make any difference to us, but actually it does make a big difference to us, and we really appreciate your support. So thank you very much. Did you say Brighton City as a landing?
You mean Shoreham?
Is that Shoreham?
Yeah, apparently they don't like being called Shoreham. It's got to be Brighton City now.
Okay,
well, if they give us a free landing fee, they can be called whatever they like.
They can be called Clarence.
Call them Gatwick if they prefer. But yeah, no, well, that's and Land's End as well.
Yeah, actually, that would make quite a good flight. That would make quite a good flight, wouldn't it? Land's End to Brighton City.
Yeah, Dave, you could do that in a boat.
Yeah, it would take me quite a long time in a boat.
I could do Land's End to Shoreham without a GPS.
I reckon so. Yeah, Flying South. There's still an airport needs to be in on this. Tell them, Flying South. We're very happy to have them.
And that's I think. What is Johnny drinking out of? What, Johnny? What is that like a chamber pot or something?
It does look a bit like one.
Bloody hell. Yeah, so cool. Right, thank you very much for that. And I believe a whole bunch of that is down to some work that Sarah's been doing. Sarah Nadia, who is the newly appointed Flyer Cup champion. We'll get her on here shortly to talk to you. And she's working hard in bringing you loads and loads of benefits, landing fees, winter activities, webinars, all sorts of stuff. So look forward to that, and a whole bunch of discounts on some good things too. Right, news. Dave, you're up first on news. I just forgot to rearrange the pictures, so I can't find the one. Go for it.
So anyway, the first story is about we have a new compilation of Flyer out. This is our 4-weekly compilation of the articles we've uploaded during the past 4 weeks, and you can download the PDF and read them offline, should you want to. The cover story is the UK's first flight test of the Sling High Wing, with Ian and Ed going up to Top Farm to fly the aircraft. This is the one that flew to Oshkosh from South Africa, and has since been back to Europe and to Greece, and now it's back. Now it's in the UK. Anyway, the Sling High Wing is a new kit plane, 4 seats, powered by a Rotax 915 IS engine. You can read the article in the PDF or on the website. There are some videos as well of the Sling being flown. The Sling being flown, yep. And but they're obviously only available either on the YouTube channel or on the website. Other articles in the issue are how not to buy an aircraft. You may remember we talked about this quite extensively earlier in the month. There's a great flying adventure from Neville Parton, who flew the Top Nav competition earlier in the year and won it. Other things in the issue, there's among our columnists, a regular columnist, Ed Bellamy, is taking a look at the Part ML regulations, and he asked, what does a new airworthiness code mean for aircraft owners? Other things, Ian asks how GA can become greener. Safety editor Nick Hurd zeroes in on flying in cloud without an instrument rating, which is part of what happened with a club fly out to do 2K. And in Top Gear, we've reviewed a new book called The General Aviation Handbook, compiled by a team from Air Britain, led by Rod Simpson, occasionally writes for us, and it covers all GA aircraft from the year 2000. You think you're an av geek? Think again.
That thing by Ed Bellamy on the Part ML Explained, that's kind of like got to be the world's most boring title of a feature. But it is really, I don't want to say interesting, but it's really useful to get a grasp of that, because the maintenance regulations, the airworthiness stuff are just so dull and tortured. But Ed does a good job of making them a little bit simpler. And it's like, if you were trying to write a clickbait headline for that, you'd really struggle, wouldn't you?
I did my best.
We looked at the regulations. You'll never believe what we found.
I think the headline of, we put on that article was actually quite good. Yeah. What does the new airworthiness code mean for aircraft owners? I mean,
There you go. That's not too
Yeah.
bad, is it?
No.
Right. I have a very short version of that sling clip I'm going to play you. It's only a minute long. The full there's 2 other videos. Anyone can go on YouTube and watch the 8.5 minute one, and then if you're a member only, you can go and see a longer one, which is basically got Ed and I chatting about the whole experience of the sling on the way back from Top Farm. So here you go with the little 1 minute taster. Heading off to Top Farm to go, hopefully go fly the Sling High Wing. This is the Sling HW High Wing. No surprises there. Powered by a 915IS turbocharged Rotax that delivers 141 horsepower, 135 continuous power if you want to fly it that fast. Coming down here, you can see this particular airplane. First saw this in Oshkosh, so it flew from South Africa to Oshkosh to Europe. Looks like they popped down to Rome. Not quite sure what they were. Oh, where did they go? They went to Greece, didn't they? Not sure what they were doing there. Came back to the UK, which is where it is now. And then once we finish with it, and a few other people, I guess, it's going to head back to the USA. Tim, this is going through the LAA process at the moment, is that right?
It is, yeah. We visited the LAA last week, and they've been presented now with all the documentation they need to initially give build approval, and then latterly, when the first of type is completed, we can then do the flight tests.
There you go. Just tiny taster. A couple of people did ask me afterwards, again, Ian, why are you standing there stroking it? A couple of other questions.
Stroking going on there.
Since we started doing video, I've kind of discovered that a whole load of things that I do, at least, that I was just not aware that I do or did. And it's a very strange thing. So when we get some more people on video, we'll no doubt discover lots of other strange things as well. Johnny with his strange car, all sorts of bits and pieces. So there you go. Go have a look at the video and see what you think. Right. What's next? Oh, it's me. Have you finished your bit, Dave?
Yep, I finished my bit. Yep.
Okay, right. So next thing up, if you will not have missed, hopefully, the General Aviation Pilot Licensing and Training Simplification Phase 1 Strategic Direction consultation from the Civil Aviation Authority. They don't make it easy, do they? So you'll remember that a few years ago, the CAA kind of asked everybody what they thought they should do and what opportunities they could take now we've left the EU and more to the point, EASA. And it won't come as any surprise that the most popular thing that everyone suggested was to sort out pilot licensing, because it's a real complex situation, shall we say. So the CAA have been doing this. So they've taken so far about 3 decades longer than they promised originally. Not quite 3 decades, obviously, but a lot longer than they thought. And they came out with this. So effectively, they came out with the statement saying, we think the general aviation would be better served by an overhaul of current regulations. We should be more straightforward and more integrated. Well, that's what we told you. It didn't take you ages to work that bit out, did it, for God's sake? Anyway, it's a multi-phase project. There's going to be 3 different phases. The phase we're in at the moment is the kind of what they're calling the licensing architecture phase. You can actually read the report and play a game of CA management bingo for different phrases, because there's actually quite a lot in there. But I don't want to take away from it, because there's some good stuff as well. So licensing architecture, they're basically going to do a KO PPL aircraft and helicopters and a sub-ICAO one, and they're going to try and simplify it, and better still, they're going to make it so there's a clear path to go from all the way up and down all the time, which would be a good thing because we don't have that at the moment. There's a couple of interesting hints in there. They said firmly this is really only going to be for private general aviation, not commercial aviation, but they did say excluding PPL flight instruction and excluding commercial balloons. So we can expect in a next phase something to do around PPL flight instruction and commercial ballooning. The next phase is all about licensings, ratings, certificates and stuff like that. And that's where we'll get quite a lot of the meat, I suspect. Things like how we're going to renew things. There was no mention in this at the moment about how we're going to renew it, you know, whether it's the 12 hours in the last 24 months, blah, 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 all that really boring, complex stuff that changes for all sorts of different licenses that you've got. And then the last phase is the rulemaking process, where they get to send it through the lawyers and make it all ridiculously complicated again. So you get to the end of it and you go, was it really worthwhile to get there? Probably not. But anyway, they did say that don't expect anything for a couple of years. So But that said, you've got until December 16th or November 16th, can't remember, to go and have your say. So do go online, have a read through, and have your say. Was there anything else that I made a note of? That I think probably the most complex thing in there, and the thing that is going to be difficult to figure out, is how, once we've shifted to the new licensing scheme, we deal with everyone's current and existing licenses and what the pathway is. And there are various different options that they put forward, like Armageddon one, you have to transfer today, which they're clearly not going to go for because they couldn't really cope with it, I suspect. But overall, I think we should read it, encourage them in the right direction, go and respond to their consultation, and make sure we keep them on the right track. And we'll do whatever we can to hold their feet to the fire, make sure they get it done sometime in the next 2 years, so it doesn't drag on to the next 10 years, which is equally possible. They do say in there, sorry, last thing, I know it's a boring subject, last thing, they are going to try not to change the basic regulation, which we've kind of adopted into retained EU law, as they're calling it. So they're going to try and make the smallest number of changes as possible, but at the same time, they're going to relate to ICAO, which they have to relate to, and try and get rid of as much of the gold plating that over the years the RCA have put on top of the ICAO regulations. So I think I'd sum up by saying there's good potential. They need encouraging. So there you go. That's my news story. Anyone's got any questions?
Yeah, nice to think that they look at America and go, cool, America really kind of has it quite well set up.
They do mention that they'll be looking elsewhere for best practice, and I sincerely hope that they look to the USA, which I think has one of the best and simplest systems for keeping your license current. Effectively, you fly a BFR. It's not actually called a BFR anymore, I don't think, but you fly with an instructor once every 2 years, and you sit down and have a chat for an hour on the ground and a flight, about an hour's flight. And if you're good enough, they sign you off, and if you're not good enough, they don't sign you off. But the advantage is, let's say you've got an American license and you don't fly for 20 years and you want to fly again. You just go to an instructor and they give you training until you're ready to pass a BFR, and that's it. At the moment over here, you don't fly for 20 years. You'll get a whole load of people sucking air through their teeth. A whole load of people in ATO go, "Oh, you got to do theory exams again. You got to do this. It's like, why make it so freaking complicated? It doesn't need to be. You're either good enough or you're not." But anyway,
Nick Allen says, "Is there a link for the consultation?" There is indeed, Nick. I put a link to our news story in the comments, and you'll find a link in that. So
yeah, so go take a look, download it. It's got a kind of, have you called Grant Shapps on this? Funnily enough, no. When Grant Shapps got fired from being transport minister, I dropped him an email. I said, "Grant, now you're free of all of that transport minister stuff, Secretary of State and all that. Perhaps you could come and chat to us about what it's really like. You can come on the live stream, tell us all sorts of bits and pieces." Do you know what he said?
He's like, "Hang on a minute, I'm going to be Home Secretary in a short."
He basically said nothing and completely ignored me.
That's what I was going to guess.
It's like, Grant, you don't phone, you don't write.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you're of no use to me whatsoever. I don't So anyway, yeah. Well, you never know. We might bump into him at some stage.
Well, you know, I'm seeing as one of the last holders of that post managed to turn airfield, brownfield sites into easy developed options. Maybe that's something that Grant might be able to turn around in the future.
Yeah, I think the responsibilities have changed. And someone was saying that, someone was hoping that, and then someone pointed out that actually that's not part of his bailiwick anymore. So, and of course, there's going to be a new leader in a week, and who knows whether that means. I mean, he could be that new leader, or he could be back on the back benches again. In which case, I'll ping him another email. "Dear Grant, come down with this, and we'll buy you a pasty. Tell us everything."
Yeah.
Right. I think I've done that. If anyone's got any questions on the consultation, just ping something in the comments. We'll do our best to answer. Or better still, go and have a look at the consultation and take your time and write your answers. Encourage them to do the right thing. We've actually asked the CA if they want to send someone along to explain it. So I'm hopefully that will happen in the next week or two. But you never know with the CA, really.
Excellent.
Right. Enough of me. Ed.
Award news. The Lakes Flying Company has won Aviation Heritage UK's Robert Fleming Memorial Award for 2022. and this is for its recreation and successful flying of an aeroplane called the Waterbird, which is an exacting replica of a 1911 seaplane that was first to fly with a stepped float. This is a pretty cool project. It's been done under the auspices of the LAA, so the replica the original was built for Edward Wakefield by Avro, and it was flown from Windermere in 1911. No drawings existed for the Waterbird, only photos, and a guy called Ian G created a project where the aeroplane was recreated, and it's been done with period materials. They've used a modern engine, a modern Rotec radial, but otherwise it was an 11-year project, and they flew it off from Windermere this year, and a number of successful flights during the summer. But anyway, so they've been awarded this award. So I know a few people were like, who's Aviation Heritage UK? But they were formerly known as the British Aircraft Preservation Council, and they've been around since 1967.
I don't know if anyone can hear me or if my internet's broken.
We can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
I was worried because you were doing your sit still thing. And you never do that.
Yeah, good on them for doing that. It's not. It looks like a handful.
Yes. Yeah. Do you think Ian's given up?
I think he can't hear us.
He's gone.
You're still broadcasting, Ian. Anyway.
Okay.
Oh.
Right. Here comes the pen and pad.
He's writing a message.
We can hear you, Ian. Everything's good.
We'll have to, we'll have to do the same in reverse.
Who's on next? Oh, it's me.
It's you.
Okay. Right. Well, while I'm so this is a kind of slightly tricky story. This is the story about the financial fraud at the LAA and the fact they've got their AGM coming up on Sunday. It's kind of tricky because it's clearly LAA business, but obviously,
naughty.
Obviously, there are at least two people on your screen here are LAA members. So Flyer through various means actually has seen the report for the LAA members, and there's been a long and busy discussion of it on the Flyer forum. It's a tricky situation. What can we say? That I think the fraud took place over a 3-hour phone call, which is really that is a very long and studied particular bit of fraud, isn't it? And there was a board report. The CA commissioned a report, and to be fair, the report came back and was pretty critical of management and the board, I believe. And there's a whole bunch of other stuff coming up on Sunday. We kind of took the view that given that we are not part of the LAA, although we have LAA members amongst us, that we weren't going to publish. Yes, Stuart, we're doing it now. We're not going to publish the report. Although I'm sure that once the LAA have emailed that out to however many thousands of people, that's pretty much in the public domain. So it's probably not going to be too difficult for you to get a hang of it. I think what's going to be important now, from my point of view, and I think from our point of view here, is to see what happens next, how the LAA deal with this. There's been some criticism, some would say warranted. I don't know the details about how long it's taken to get the report done and to bring. They had the report on the 23rd of August, and they're still really. It only just came out yesterday to the members, which is kind of an interesting timing. And the AGM, as I say, is on Sunday where it will be mentioned. I think that will be a well-attended AGM, whether people attend physically or virtually via Zoom. I mean, I guess we should hold a poll, really. Would you prefer to be a member of LAA senior management, or would you prefer to be in the cabinet? Tricky decision now, isn't it, really? I don't know if anybody else wants to say anything there. I'm being quite careful to try and play this with a completely straight bat at the moment.
There's a very extensive. It's polarized quite a lot of opinion. There's an extensive thread where go along and see what various people think. As Whiskey Alpha Pilot says, actually the report's not marked private or confidential. So.
True. Yeah.
I think Dave White in the comments I've just noted makes an interesting point. which is
The
something
report
we
on the
spoke
fraud is
about earlier.
after the AGM. Yeah.
Yeah, and I know the AGM involves voting for some new board members, including the guy who we flew this link with, Tim Hardy, I should say, who's put himself up for election. So, although those things aren't related to the fraud, I should say. But yeah, it's personally, I think the only way for the LAA to go now is complete and open transparency as much as possible, as soon as possible, and what action they take as a result of that report, and whether everybody who works for the LAA today will still work for the LAA next week, I don't know. But that's it's your association, LAA members, not mine. So there you go. There you go. Yeah, I think Johnny.
Yeah, on a slightly brighter note, it's the Fly to Help Gala dinner this evening, and they've got a silent auction on, and I don't know if we've got the link ready to post, but we will post it in the comments, so you can please go along. If you look for things, donate money, help them out. They're up to, I'm just looking at the moment, they've got raised $2,500 so far. I've got the counter on my other screen here. So yeah, do go and help them out. And if you want to help them out, but also want a good evening, then you can go to their winter ball, which is on the 2nd of December in Cheltenham at the Doubletree, the Hilton Doubletree. So you can go there, and I've been before. It's good fun.
Are you thinking of going this year, Johnny?
I would. I'm actually in Jerez.
Oh,
unfortunately. Yeah, but yeah, go along, click that link, go and support Fly to Help and put some bids down.
There were some good items. I did look earlier. There's it seems that the Red Arrows like giving away their flight suits, because there's another Red Arrows flight suit.
I don't think it's a flight suit. I think you can rent a pair of Reds, can't you?
Is that the whole team?
I think that's all that's left of it now. Yeah, it's just a synchro pair. And I think there was a scandal over all of the others being rented off at auction. Oops. Yes, right. Yeah, go to the Fly to Help thing. I might see if I can go to the winter ball in Cheltenham. That might be a laugh.
Yeah. I've got some carbon monoxide news.
Sure. Go for it. I don't think I've got any.
It's literally goes. So the CAA have published its fourth part of its year-long carbon monoxide detector survey, and they've been asking pilots through the year to report on flying with active carbon monoxide detectors in the cockpit. In their fourth part, I just picked out a few of the things from their report. What was there? There was two people reported that their carbon monoxide detectors overheated. 43% of participants recorded 0 parts per million, which is quite good. Nice clean cockpits. 38% of participants recorded a peak CO reading of less than 50 parts per million, which is the safe kind of exposure for CO. Only 1% recorded a peak CO reading of between 51 and 100, and that's bad news. So you'd like to think that whoever that 1% is, have done some things to kind of negate that problem. But anyway, the CAA promises us that there'll be now that the data gathering has ended, they're working on a final report to summarise, and I think there's probably going to be a recommendation maybe from them about whether it's worth us having active carbon monoxide detectors in the aeroplane or not. And to be honest, I think there's some good devices out there nowadays, and I'd rather work with one than one of those sticky things that goes on your dash and you go, has the colour changed on this? Because I don't think I've ever seen one change colour.
Yeah, big question from Tom Watson.
Anyone tried the Lightspeed headsets? I think there's one sat at Ian's feet, ready to wear.
There is, and so we will be bringing you that test shortly. It's a mega test. We just got to find someone who's happy to wear it in a carbon monoxide chamber.
There's not many of those around.
If there are any volunteers, let us know.
Yeah.
So we're bringing that. I mean, basically, I'm gonna skip through all of the CAA's research and its year's research and its conclusion and everything else, and say, if you go flying and it's not like an open cockpit thing, just go grab yourself an active carbon monoxide monitor. Get one where the batteries last for ages. Some of them last for 10 years. It's going to be much better than those little sticky things. Just go and buy one. They're not that expensive, are they? 30, 40, 50 quid, something like that. You know, that'd be a chunk if you had to buy it every month, but you've only got to buy it once every 10 years. So,
and interestingly, one of the other notable observations from the report is that aeroplanes that, no surprise, aeroplanes that were older tended to get more of the alerts. So
I think the CA should rename that report, call it the no shit report. Anyway, right. Last thing on the news before we head over somewhere far more interesting over to James there, which is tomorrow, this Saturday, day after tomorrow, it's Pilot Careers Live in Dublin. I'll be heading out there tomorrow and back on Saturday. So if you're in Dublin, you're thinking of becoming a commercial pilot, come see us at the event. And if you're not in Dublin, come see us at the one in London on the 5th of November. So we look forward to that. And I think it must be time.
David Eade says, squirt a CO2 fire extinguisher at it. That's CO2, David, not CO. That will just wreck the headset.
Although, I have to say, if we could find one of us, if one of us has got it on during the test, it would be quite fun just to squirt a CO2 fire extinguisher at them.
We don't endorse squirting people in the face with fire extinguishers, do we?
No. Ed.
No.
We don't. We're serious here, you know. Right, let's bring in James and get some really serious stuff. James, let me just make you large.
Oh.
There you go.
Probably large enough as it already is, to be honest with you, Ian.
I'm going to hand over to Johnny because I've.
Yeah, James, thanks for joining us. Now we spoke. I can't remember when it was earlier in the year after you'd taken on Farway. First question is: are you still enjoying it? How's it going?
Yeah, it's been quite a year, to be honest with you. I think I'm getting a bad sense of deja vu sat in your waiting room listening to you chaps on your live stream. So last time I did it, I think I was sat in Dubrovnik, and poor Catherine, my other half, was sat in this very nice restaurant. And I managed to get back about an hour and a half later, and it was an interesting meal afterwards, is what I would say. No, so we've had a really great year, actually. It's been a hell of an undertaking, and it's been a hell of an undertaking, a big learning curve. But yeah, we've done loads. As I don't know whether you guys have been following it, but we put some drainage in early part of the year. That really didn't have a chance to do very much, obviously, with the great weather we had over the summer. But actually, with the recent weather we've had, it's starting to drain, and the runways are nice and firm. And yeah, it's a huge improvement. We've put marker boards in to help people with what are relatively short fields, some good tea and coffee facilities in the hangar for people flying in. We've put an airfield car in place for people to borrow, so they can go out to the local sites and pubs and things like that. New windsock and all that sort of stuff. So we've put in quite a lot to make it a bit of a nicer destination, a safer place for people to fly in. But yeah, it's been really good up until relatively recently, being thrown or stuffed well and truly into the limelight due to a couple of complaints and an overzealous enforcement officer at the local council.
Yeah, so just give us a bit of a background on what kind of caused that all to start happening.
Yeah, I think it's quite interesting. Basically, what actually occurred is over the summer we had a request from Yeovilton actually to come and do some helicopter flying. Being the background that I've got with my business involved with the defence industry, thought it was a good idea to let the chaps come in. They were allowed in on the proviso that they stuck to the circuits, didn't overfly houses and horses and all that sort of stuff. Anyway, unbeknown to us, one of the residents really didn't like it, despite me going around all of the residents, giving them my phone number, making sure that they knew who I was, that if they had any problems, they could give me a call. I actually knocked on who I believe who started all of this, his house, introduced myself, a bit frosty, but he didn't say he had any particular problems. Next thing I have is a letter from the council saying they've had a complaint and that we have to stick within 28 days or go for a planning application. Now we operate and have done for over 28 days. So I went back to them and told them that. Next thing we've had is an enforcement notice, not an enforcement notice, sorry, a contravention notice. And clearly they haven't stuck to their procedures. One of the things they're supposed to do is engage with, the individual involved, talk to them. Had they done that, they could have come out, sat down, we could have talked about what we were wanting to do, what we were doing, and they would have seen the evidence that we've been well and truly in use for over 28 days a year for the best part of 20 years. But unfortunately, due to their actions, we were forced to put a lawful use certificate application in place. And since then, it's been quite an interesting ride.
Yeah. So what kind of stuff have you had to gather in terms of data and evidence and for the lawful use certificate? And has the community helped out with that?
Yeah, I have to say, there's a few people who have been really very helpful, and if I may just, at the end of this, I'd just like to name them and thank them because they have been absolutely marvellous, to be honest with you. But yes, the shout went out. A lot of people assisted. I think probably the most useful thing is having the logbook evidence, and there's 20 years worth of evidence there of over 28 days worth of use, and it's substantially more than that. So yeah, we had to put that together, and then really just put the application in. I am pretty confident that we'll get it at the end of the day. The planning law states that if it's been in use for over 10 years, 28 days a year for 10 years continuously, which it has been, we can prove that. They have to issue a lawful use certificate. So that's what we're hoping for, and that's what we need to do.
Yeah.
Do you know when that will be?
I think public consultation, thank God, finishes on Wednesday next week. And then after that, we'd be expecting something within the course of a few weeks after that, I think.
Yeah. So you've got something else kind of hanging over you in terms of, well, physically and metaphorically, haven't you? In terms of the an airspace change proposal. Can you just talk us through what the issue is there?
Yeah, absolutely. It's quite interesting because Exeter Airport being one of the people who have objected to our application. And what is really interesting is that, the management team at Exeter Airport have my number on speed dial, and they can speak to me at any time. We could discuss this rather than them just making a exception or an objection to what we were asking for. And basically, the ACP, which has now been rejected, I believe, 3 times by the CAA, I think mainly because they haven't considered all airspace users and they haven't engaged properly with the local stakeholders, of which obviously we're one of them. That ACP, if that goes ahead, will be quite difficult for Dunk as well, for ourselves, and for the gliding community in the area as well. And yeah, they made an objection based on that. I really can't understand why, to be honest with you, because in 20 years of use, there's not been a single air prox. And with the ILS within about 2 miles of the end of our runway, with a 550 metre long strip, well, we'd have to be running jet fighters out there to be able to get to 1,500 feet within 2 miles. And anybody who wants to try to get into the field from 1,500 feet 2 miles away would be doing very well indeed. So it's quite a ridiculous statement.
Yeah. So are you in need of any kind of more support from the community for that?
Not at the moment. I think the ACP, when that goes back out to consultation once again, everybody will be invited to that. The local, the LAA being very active within that, as is Brandon up at Dunk as well, ourselves, and North. I think it's North Hill Gliding Club, and some of the others as well. So once that occurs, yeah, the shout will go out, and I think people will need to make some suggestions. But what is interesting is that the requirement that they state that they need for such a large swathe of airspace is huge, and it really doesn't need to be for what they're trying to achieve there.
It's a strange thing. There was somebody that wasn't me who suggested a little while ago who wondered whether the value of an airfield with controlled airspace was more than the value of an airfield without it.
I think it was definitely the former of the two there, Ian.
I think you might be right, and I mean, you'd have to be very cynical to say that was Exeter's motivation, but you never know.
Well, it's always veiled in airspace. It's always veiled in the guise of safety and now environment, because it means they don't have to route airliners as far around traffic and things like that. But let's face it, it's a prerequisite for most airlines to flying them out of an airport to have controlled airspace. And at the end of the day, what are they going to do if they do get that controlled airspace? It's going to fill up with airliners and the EasyJets and the Ryanairs, etc., etc. This world. And the area that we live in, which is an area of outstanding natural beauty, which we're very respectful of, and we take great measures to reduce our footprint on, is going to be much busier and much noisier due to all these airliners flying down the ILS.
It's going to be some interesting. So I have to say, although I may have appeared slightly cynical, even though I'm clearly too young to be that cynical. Should Exeter Airport or anybody from Exeter Airport fancy coming along here and giving your side of the story? We'd love to hear it. Tell us all about it.
Yeah, I think that would probably.
You never know. They may have something interesting to say.
A good thing. But some of the things that we have done, I think what's been quite interesting with our application is that this sort of one individual who really started all of this has now decided to corral pretty much everybody locally, and through a letter or several letters that are circulating, and I know that's the case because there's cut, copy and pastes on the planning objections on the East Devon District Council website. That individual is going around causing nightmare for us. And what's actually happening is that that sort of started to snowball, and there's even comments on there now about us tarmacking runways and putting in massive, great big hangars and all this sort of stuff, which is quite ridiculous. But one of the things that the flying community can help with, if they want to, it would be helpful. Have a look at the East Devon District Council website, and if you search our postcode, which is EX100QW or Farway or Moorlands Farm, you'll come up with a planning application. You can see the comments, and if you fancy adding comment to that, please do so.
There's a link in the comment. Take you straight to that. Take you straight to that consultation. Am I right in thinking, James, that you must have? I would imagine the plea for evidence from people who've flown into Farway in the past. You've probably got 30 plus years of evidence of safe operation, haven't you? So
absolutely. Well, we've provided 200 pages of evidence to the council to show that we've had existing use. And one of the things that is quite interesting is that the typical comments are on there, and I completely sympathise with people, because if they're reading things on social media, they're hearing things without actually coming and talking to us. They're making big or a lot of it's exaggerated. They are going to object to it, and they're worried. But the real facts is that it's been operating for 20 years. This year, since I took the airfield over, it's not been the busiest. There were many years where it's busier than it has been this year. For 20 odd years, we've had people flying in and out, doing all sorts of stuff at that airfield, and it hasn't caused a problem with the ANOB. It hasn't caused a massive noise nuisance to the local villages. It's been absolutely fine. So those issues that people have are quite well, they're going to be baseless, for the simple reason being that their fears haven't actually materialised over the last 20 years.
Yeah. And if you've been around for a certain amount of time without complaints and you have evidence, doesn't that kind of give you? The local council should just grant you your certificate of lawful use, shouldn't they?
Absolutely, and that's why the whole ridiculousness of it is, had the enforcement officer followed the appropriate procedure and engaged with us, they would have been able to see that evidence, and the conversation would have been, right then, Mr. Hortop, can we talk about how we can minimise any future complaints? And oh yeah, there's your evidence. Thank you for that. Carry on. And that would have been the conversation. But we were never afforded that option, I'm afraid. And that's the problem. And that really is actually where some of the bigger organisations can help, potentially with the CAA, for example, especially with James head over the new GA unit. They should be issuing guidance to councils about this, that if it does exist, to thrust it into the limelight that we have been. And gents, you should read the comments. Some of them are actually really, really nasty. They're horrible, horrible comments, directed personally at me. They shouldn't actually thrust it into the limelight in the way they have. The planning law states that the public comment shouldn't actually be taken into consideration when they're reviewing a application for lawful use. So why they felt it necessary to allow their website to become a place where personal character assassinations can take place is beyond me, and I have no idea why.
To be honest, it's probably, apart from not being a particularly nice thing to read, it's probably not doing your cause any harm having that kind of outrageous personal comments on there anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think you're right. You know, at the end of the day, you know, as you guys can probably tell, I'm an extremely passionate individual about flying, aeroplanes in general, small airfields, grassroots flying, all that sort of stuff. It's super important. And yeah, it takes a little bit of metal to sort of stick there and go through that. But there's been, you know, I've got a really good sort of support group around me actually, who are sort of keeping me on the straight and narrow and putting up with me at the minute. So it's not easy.
Cool.
But can I just mention a few people? Would that be all right, chap?
Yeah, do.
Just really important. So my fellow hangar mates, Nick Wright, who runs a gyro school up at Farway, has been absolutely amazing, as is Matt Jones, who is my hangar buddy. Mike Mould at the LAA has been absolutely phenomenal. Chris at Branscombe, Chris at Bolthead. So I've got to read these. Dan Sabani, the famous Dan Sabani, over at Sandown, and you can imagine what his suggestions have been. I say to people, Louise Southern at the AFE guy was fantastic, and she put me in touch with a lady by the name of Anne Barterby. Anne works with the APPG, and I think she used to run, I think it was Farnborough Airport, or a number of the big airports, but she's also a planner, part of the APPG, and she has been absolutely amazing throughout this. And the advice that she's given me has been free and funded by the APPG. And one of the things I'd highly recommend, if anybody ever has these sort of issues with you know, their own airfields and things, Anne is definitely the lady. And it was Louise Southern who put me in touch with her. The only other people on here, I've got James Head has been great. All of the pilots have provided a huge amount of evidence. And last but not least at all has been my other half, Catherine, who has put up with me over the course of the last 12 weeks. I don't think it's been very easy for her whatsoever, because you know, it's I've been talking about it pretty much 24/7. So if she's listening to this, thank you very much, Catherine. It's much appreciated.
Kristen Horsfield said, "Is your MP any good?"
Well, quite interestingly, by the same surname as the MP, there's a whole load of objections on the East Devon District Council website. So I don't know is the answer to that. He has, I did write to him. He has dropped me an email back, which I have yet to reply to. So we'll wait and see what happens on that. And I think Nick's just said, yeah, Anne Barterby is superb. She is absolutely fantastic.
Yes. Yeah.
Excellent. Maybe we need to get Anne on to have a chat.
Yeah.
On the live stream. Yeah. So I don't know how much time we've got left. Actually, we haven't got a huge amount of time left. But did you want to have a quick word about the whole PPR thing, or
no?
I mean, I think everyone's happy with happy with PPR when it comes to private strips, pretty much.
Yeah, I think so. We were just talking about it in the before we went live this evening, and it was just an interesting thread on your forum that I was reading, and I think it's a great shame that so many places do require PPR. I think for private sites, the smaller ones, certainly like ours, it really is necessary. The only reason we want it is so that people can read our website and see what the circuit patterns are, and you know, any hazards, and so we know if we're cutting the grass that we're expecting people, or if the kids are out in the fields. But I cannot understand why some of these larger airfields require it. Sywell, I tried to get into Sywell this year, and it was almost impossible.
Sywell, I think you've got the. I'm not going to say anything about Sywell. Actually, I'm going to.
Oh, good.
Yes, some places.
So I was just going to say, you wouldn't think
I'm going to leave
some of these airfields that aircraft flying in and out is their business. That's what they do.
Yeah. Why restrict it? It's absolutely ridiculous. One of the things we will have actually, which won't require PPR, so when I do have that lawful use certificate in my hand, we're going to have a lawful use flying, and it will be free landing for everybody, and we're going to have a thoroughly good get together.
Good.
Considering both our fly-ins this year were completely weathered out, so it would be great.
Oh, fantastic. Good stuff. Well, let us know when that's going to be, James, and we'll let everybody know. We'll try and get down there.
Yeah, and a reminder, if you haven't done so, the comments close on the 26th of October, don't they? So do take some time, go over. If you've ever flown into Farway, or if you're planning to, it's all about being able to go to places and use the network. And obviously, it brings tourism, brings people down to Devon and all sorts, doesn't it? So
absolutely. One of the things we have done, if anybody is interested in looking a bit more before commenting, is that we have just published an open letter on our website. If you go to the farwaycommon.com website, you can see it, and I've kind of explained everything in there. I write better than I speak, so it's a little bit more eloquent, I expect.
I'll find it and stick a link in the comments now. So,
brilliant.
Well, good stuff. Well, James, thank you very much for joining us. It's been good to chat to you again. Hopefully we'll actually meet soon.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I saw your PPR request the other day, actually, Johnny, and but you're welcome in any time.
Say no to Johnny.
Turned him down, but
yeah.
Great.
Excellent. Thank you very much indeed for your time tonight, guys.
Yeah, no, thank you, James, and best of
Thank
luck.
you, James.
Thank you.
See you soon.
Cheers.
Get rid of that link. There we go. Just frustrating to hear that kind of stuff. Hi, my internet is dodgy again. Sorry. Dan Smith says, thanks, James. Keep at them. Yeah, and there's a lot of support out there. So, and, do take the time, head over, make a comment on the planning portal. We need some positive stuff there to push back against the negative stuff. Because this is an airfield that's been there for a long time. So, yeah. So, Fancy Hangar. So, following the news that the recreated Waterbird was a major winner of an Aviation Heritage Award and that they made it from just photos and drawings, that made us think there must be a bunch of aeroplanes out there that are lost to the sands of time. So, what would we recreate for our Fancy Hangars? Who's first?
Johnny this time.
Oh, Christ! Right.
In reversed order.
I thought I was safe then. I'm still Googling facts.
Oh, no.
No, but so I was kind of torn between two. I've uploaded two pictures, but I'm going to pick the one that I'd actually written down on the sheet, which is the Weddell Williams Model 45.
Ah.
But you're going to have to pick that picture because I don't know which one it is.
Oh, you don't know which one's which? Hang on, here we go.
That's quite nice try.
Yeah, yeah. So it was the Model 44 was kind of more well known, and there were more built, I think. And there's certainly one surviving in a museum, but of this, there are none. There is a replica, not a flying replica, just a static replica in a museum somewhere in the US. But there was only one built. It was built in 1933. It was designed by a chap called Jimmy Weddell. And it was basically designed as a racer, and he did race in it, he used to get about 260 miles per hour. Yeah. If you put a horizontal stab and a vertical stab on a Cornetto and a pair of wings, that's pretty much it.
Very good.
So I think the 30s were a good era for some really wacky looking racing airplanes.
Yes, there was a good Weddell Williams. Obviously, your 45 has got retractable gear, but there was at least one which had a nicely trousered undercarriage.
I think the 44 had trousered fixed undercarriage. Yeah.
John Watson says it's a bit like a long travel air mystery ship.
I thought it was.
Yeah, very much so.
It's got a bit of mystery ship about it, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Next up is Dave.
Dave.
Right. Well, my first choice, when we were just talking about this in rehearsals, Ed said, no, that's not allowed because there's one in a museum. The first choice was the Supermarine S6, the racing float plane that won the Schneider Trophy, but I'm not allowed to have that because there's one in a museum. So I went looking.
Well, they are the rules, Dave.
There's two of those still in existence.
This is not the Conservative Party, you know. We don't make it up as we go along.
Well, not much, but this is this is a really hard subject. I did find this quite strange and unusual aircraft.
Oh, yes.
It's the Cessna XMC. Well, apparently, XMC stands for Experimental Magic Carpet. It I don't know. That's what it says here.
That is true.
It is. Well, it was built to test various concepts in light aircraft design, including a ducted propeller and swept cantilever wing. It ran from the beginning of 71 to the end of 72, and only one of them was built. And but it flew. It did actually fly. It doesn't look too bad there. It looks sort of like the 337 Sky Master, was it? But without the front engine. No, I think it's quite a nice looking aeroplane all around.
I was thinking it looks more like a Streak Shadow.
Yeah. Well, it was side by side seating, wasn't it? I think it was Continental U200 powered, and they did a bunch of flying with it. And I think it was everyone who flew it quite liked it.
Well,
and in typical Cessna style, they went, no, this will never be a thing, and then scrapped it. So.
Wow.
The story I read about it was that the idea was they were trying to test something that would be a replacement for the the Cessna 150, 152. But when they built this, it had no better performance than the 150, so they didn't go ahead with it.
That strikes me as like when Beechcraft came out with the Starship and went, this will replace the King Air.
That's got to be the one and only aviation example of a trousered undercarriage that looks but ugly.
I was going to say it must be the only trousered nose wheel in existence.
It must be. And interestingly, obviously it steered as well. So it was, I think there was a degree of yaw count, as the nose wheel steered, then it gave you a steerable fin on the front as well. So,
yeah, you can see a slight gap on that photo.
Yeah. So there's a few photos of that floating around on the internet. So it is fascinating. In fact, there's a whole bunch of mystery Cessnas that all vanished over time, of which only one were built.
Yeah,
so,
My other option actually was a Cessna.
Ah, okay.
Okay, well that was that you can only enter one, so that's it. I've gone for an English aircraft. I've gone for the Gloucester. It's called the Gloucester Bummel, but it's also known as the Gloucester Mars, a single seat racer. I mean, look at that. That's super. There are a couple of things that are interested in this. The first thing I read about it, I had to read it about 3 times before I believed it, and actually I still don't believe it. That thing underneath, by the way, is called a lobster pot radiator.
I thought it was
barbecue gas.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it runs off LPG. You go down to your local hardware store and can I have a bottle of flow gas, please, for my. Anyway, it was designed by H.P. Folland. And interestingly, it said it was designed, built, and flown in. How long do you think that took?
I'm going to go for 30 days.
Anyone there?
30 days?
30 days. Johnny?
They do these things. They do these things in a week at Oshkosh now, don't they? Must have been
3 weeks. 3 weeks apparently.
3 weeks. There we go.
I don't believe it either.
It looks like the view over.
If you can still hear me, I don't know if you can still hear me. But...
Yeah, no, we can still hear you. Yeah, we can hear you.
We can hear you.
If you can still hear me, it got a speed record of 196 miles an hour. But the 3-week mystery was solved when it went. And they said the company recently acquired the Newport Nighthawk. And when you look at the Newport Nighthawk, it looks very, very similar. So I reckon they took a Newport Nighthawk, designed a few bits and pieces around it, and then all of a sudden, there you go, it's flying. But no, I thought it was pretty good. Powered by a Napier Lion, 450 horsepower. Going to show the picture again because it looks kind of smart. And it was liveried in a kind of like pale sky blue with white tips and stuff, which I've seen a colour picture of it, unfortunately, with a big copyright thing all over it. And it looked pretty nice and beautiful. So
interesting. Yeah.
That's what I think. Ed?
Me. So I changed my mind at the last minute, and I mentioned something to the guys, but then I went, because my original choice, I picked the Napier Heston Racer, and actually I was reading about it going, it may look beautiful in the fancy hangar, but this was an aeroplane that repeatedly tried to kill people and was horrible to fly. And then I thought of this, and it was a conversation with Mark Hales reminded me that that Miles had this beautiful aeroplane, and it was called the Hobby. It was designed by. Anyone got a photo for me?
Well, which of yours is it? Are they both the same
Both
one?
of those. Sorry. So there we go. So we'll start with the line drawing. So that the Hobby was designed by F.G. Miles. It flew in 1937, powered by 145 horse Gypsy Major. It was intended as a racer. It was pretty tiny. It was only 22 foot long, 21 foot span, and 78 square feet. I'm curious that the wingspan was actually smaller than the length. It flew in September 37. F.G. Miles flew it from Woodley, and it was only a few days before the King's Cup race that they'd hoped to enter. And unfortunately, at the time, the retractable landing gear was a bit novel for it, and that failed. Well, no, they had troubles with it, and they couldn't fly it in the race. It did eventually fly it for the King's Cup final, but the Hobby kind of just spent its life doing a bit of experimental test flying until Miles sold it to the RAE, and they used it because it was so tiny. They could stick it in a wind tunnel for wind tunnel testing, and then it was just lost. So I would imagine someone just, eventually they went, do we need this anymore? And they kind of chucked it out and it was gone. But I just think that looks like an awful lot of fun. And it was quite fast. It was, it was supposedly capable of 170 knots. So you go, that's quite a fun looking thing, that. So that would be my choice, the Miles Hobby.
Nice. It's a good one.
Good. Yeah, good one.
Well, so what have we got in the comments then?
What have we got in the comments? So Kia Williams says Bugatti Model 100. The real one, Kia, is still around. We are lucky. So Paul Fraser Benison, Spartan AC Cruiser Trimotor. That's true. That's quite a thing. That's worth looking for. Handley Page HP 42, definitely. DH91 Albatross. I think in the past when we've had this, I might have picked that. So that's a good choice. Mikey's Wings Across the Sky, anything from Miles. Annabelle C says Ian wins. Kia says, I bet that's fruity in a crosswind. Talking about Ian's. Probably so. I'd also go Gloucester. I picked the Gloucester Pioneer. Going big, going Avro Atlantic. Ian wins. Cessna Sky Shark. Ooh, I don't think there's any left. What's the Sky Shark? So Ed wins. All very Art Deco, these machines. Dave. Johnny wins. Steve Baker, reminiscent of an MA109. That must be mine. Ian wins. Second, though. Ed a close second. Ian wins. Ed wins. DH Hornet would have been much better. I think I did win with the DH Hornet a while ago. Ed wins. Ian wins. Ian wins tonight. Your ugly but kind of unusual machine, Ian, does seem it might be a Marcus Clark just goes win. He got really excited. Wins.
Go down one.
Dave wins. Yes. I don't know, there's a good spread of wins, except for Johnny wins, except for your flying Netto, Johnny.
Yeah.
Oh, excellent. Well, jolly good. I think I'm going to claim that myself anyway, even though I'll just claim it quietly. What date, Ed? You got any events? I meant Dave, not Ed. Sorry.
Dave even.
Yes. Well, the Gasco Safety Evenings, as I mentioned before, they're starting. The next one is at Brize Norton on the 27th of October, followed by Fife and Biggin Hill on the 2nd of November. Also on the 2nd of November is an online workshop on Just Culture, staged for the CEA by Astra Consulting, with Ian taking part. The annual Light Aircraft Design Conference is on the 14th of November at the Royal Aeronautical Society HQ in London. Fly-ins, there aren't many around, but there's a Christmas fly-in at Compton Abbas on the 10th of December. Looking ahead, Aero Expo, that's on the 8th to 10th of June next year at Sywell. Aero Expo is open for slots to fly in. Aero Expo is sandwiched by two other events this next summer. The Private Flyer Fest, as it's now known, 19th to the 20th of May at Wickham, and another one on the 7th to the 8th of July at Leeds East. So three 3 GA shows in the summer, apparently next year.
Right.
I think we should launch one as well.
Yeah.
Everyone else is.
Yeah.
That wasn't serious. We're not going to do it. We're not going to do it. Tony Crow's going flying, so watch out. Look after that. And so that Sywell thing for Aero Expo, if you want to book your place, it's 20 quid for a single, 15 quid for a microlight, and 20 quid for a helicopter.
Wow.
You have to pay in advance, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So
here's hoping Aero Expo actually happens next year, because obviously it got close and then didn't.
It got close. It was going to be at Kemble, wasn't it?
It was.
I'm guessing the fact that it's in Sywell means that Kemble and Aero Expo are not working or playing well together at the moment.
Yes. Nigel Hitchman asks, Ian, why not have the winter event at Telford again?
I would rather stick red hot pins in my eyes and then squiggle them about a bit.
It's not that you didn't enjoy the event, because the event was good, but it's just difficult to put an event on, isn't it?
It's really difficult. It's really difficult to put an event on. We always manage to lose money, not huge amounts, but we manage to lose money at it. It's the event that I've been involved in, and I've been involved in a lot of events where I get more abuse from more people than any other event. Even for stuff that's got nothing to do with me. And there's just it's basically lose, 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 as far as I was concerned, unfortunately. And unlike pregnancy, I haven't forgotten the trauma of it yet enough to decide I want another one.
But the Telford event is, I do often hear that one mentioned quite a lot. It's people feel they have a love for that. But it's a difficult one to do.
Ed, if you feel that you want to go and run that, I'll support you.
There you go. So Paul Fraser Benison says, I loved it.
Yeah, we do need to do something, but I don't. It won't be that. We'll I don't know. Maybe we'll just start with I don't know. I'll keep it to myself. We'll figure it out.
Good.
Let you know. Right. Okay. I think we're at the end, are we not? Thank you very much, Guy Demon, once again for sponsoring us. Very much appreciated. Thank you very much, everyone out there who's hung around until now and watching. If you're not a member, please join. As they say in America, and they were saying at the beginning of this, smash that like button, hit that bell, subscribe, leave a comment, all that kind of thing, and join the Fly Club as well. So thanks very much. Have a safe flying weekend. See you next Wednesday and then next Thursday, unless you're coming to Dublin. So thanks very much.
Bye. Good night, everyone. Fly safe.
Bye.